Finally, we're back to the webinar and we managed to fix the technical issues. Let's continue with the AI Agents webinar and talk how they can boost the developer experience. And this is something that we've been working on for a long time, and we're also doing proof of concepts for companies and helping companies to succeed in the AI involvement. And I'm Oliver, I run the company Playground Dev, and I'm the CEO.
And I'm William, CTO at Playground Dev.
And today we're focusing the webinar on the AI agents, how we can work with them and in the developer experience.
Yes, so AI agents and like AI tools has gone through like a lot of steps during these, 2 years?
Yeah.
So it started with we had ChatGPT and we could ask it to generate code. We could copy that code, implement this code within our current or the usual IDE that we have always used. And this evolved to auto completion. We got AI integrated into the IDEs where it could do smart auto completions, actually generate small snippets of code functions and stuff. Which were really cool. And then we went to context aware IDs. Let's say Cursor, for example, where you could ingest the context of the code base into the agent, asking it to perform code tasks. And then you could do very whole file edits, whole feature edits, but it still lacked. And that's where agentic reasoning, agentic flows came into the existence. And I guess this is pretty much where we are today. We have agentic workflows. We have agents that iterate on testing the code, getting the output, reasoning about some error and then fixing the error, for example. And yeah, the future, the next evolution.
Yeah, exactly. And as you see, the emoji is a crystal ball. We don't know where we're going, but this is our take on it. And we see that companies want to have more context of their organization, of their teams, what they're working on with the wiki, with the documentation of everything. And we believe that agents will have much more context awareness. And we know that it works because we're doing this kind of stuff. We have this kind of service that we're providing for companies to integrate agents and make some knowledge base of the company. And
why limit it to one repository when you can ingest the whole organization context into the agent?
Yeah, exactly. And so as you can see here, we have a lot of agents already. This is just a bunch of them, and you can always play bingo with all of them. And we have Cloud Code, Gemini, Quen, Kiro, Copilot, and Cursor, of course, in the right corner that was hiding. This is one of the largest one. And
I guess a bunch of them are pretty much the same thing. Some have different takes on it, but
yeah. And they are evolving really fast. And they also have, besides the agent part itself, it's also possible to connect MCPs, which we call the agent power up. This is what can connect and extend the agentic flow to external services.
And it's it doesn't have to necessarily be MCP, but MCP currently is kind of becoming a standard within agent integrating to other services, which basically is what MCP is. You can use MCP as an interface to integrate towards third-party services, maybe your content management system, for example, giving the agent context about the content that you have in the management system, and can maybe update as well directly in it.
And that's something that we will also show a demo of today. And there's a lot of things happening. We're getting the sub-agents, the tools, the hooks, the CLIs that you can use the agents for, and MCPs. It's so much to learn to just understand what's possible. But there's also risks.
Yeah, there is it's all about having context and having it perform actions. And I guess when you give it this responsibility, for example, you want to have it be able to test something. So let's say it can deploy something in your test environment, execute it, I mean, that's fine, but we have also seen like people using agents connecting to like production environments, try to debug stuff, but you don't know what the agent will do. For example, it might see this as a test environment and start clearing databases, and so there is like a lot of stuff that you need to be careful about.
And it can really go bananas if you give too much access and let it go wild.
I mean, that's the thing, right? Because when you have these kind of agents, I mean, you get lazy as well, because you see code, you might review it like briefly, but at some point you just click accept because it should work pretty much, and that's where the risk comes in when you don't have like guidelines and rules about it.
Exactly, and that's what we will talk about today. Besides the demo where we show how the MCP's integration work, we will also show the rules, the agentic rules, how you can set them, what it is, and how we can think about context, the conventions and controls, and the ways of working.
So basically, we see like this as the like main points when you are working with an agent and want to do it in like a good way. I mean, first of all, it's context. You need to give the agent good context to be able to perform good output, like shit in, shit out, basically. We have conventions and rules, which are like, we want to tell the AI agent what it should do, what it should avoid to do, what guidelines we have at our company, for example. Then, of course, controls. We want to be able to like have some guardrails for like when the agent does something that we don't want it to do, or generate code that isn't like passing tests or whatever, like quality gates to make sure that this agent is or outputting good context or good code, basically.
And for the context example, we have just added a pretty simple example where we're talking about where we have a prompt where you want to integrate some Stripe integrations, payment services, and if you don't have any context on the left side, then you can see that it generates some Stripe integrations based on the best practices from the documentation, maybe from Stripe, but it's not good enough.
I mean, let's say if we have like we have the agent looking at like one directory where we want to implement Stripe, but in another directory we have like a Stripe integration already, but it doesn't have that as context yet. And we tell it to like, I want you to create a Stripe integration, then we might get like an home-built integration as well. Like it doesn't use the library.
Exactly, and the thing is, what we talked about before about the magic crystal ball is that the future, and the future is now, it's about the ultra context aware AI. It's that it just don't look. The agent is not just looking at the repositories. It can also look in the wiki, the documentation. It can look in the tickets who have written the tickets and who have commented the tickets, and have much more company awareness and much more knowledge about the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, let's say querying Prometheus, for example, like getting metrics. I mean, you don't have to look at metrics. The AI can look at metrics, for example. There's a lot of potential with like providing it with this amount of context. But you have to do it in a good way and structured way as well, of course. Like conventions. It's basically like a rule checklist for the AI. And all the AI agent has some kind of like way to provide AI with rules. Today we will talk about Cloud Code, but in this might look the same for like every agent. But this is basically like we want to provide it with. In this case, we want to have a backend API, and we wanted to like create controllers, models, services, utils, tests, and that's why we define it like in the file structure. We also tell it like naming convention, code structure, testing requirement, and all this like so the AI can get this context as well when we just ask it to like create a file, for example. We want to create a user service. Then we look at all this. You don't have to provide this all the time.
You can think of this as a system prompt, maybe a system prompt for the AI agent, for Cursor, for Cloud Code, that it looks at before it's starting to work. So if you set some guidelines, some rules to follow, it will look at that before and then start implementing the code.
Exactly.
And now the con.
Higher, yes, sure.
And now the controls. And the controls are about the quality gates and the costs. And one thing here, just to mention, is the prices are going up. The prices for all the agentic features for using the language models are going up. And this is something that we have to get used to, and that we are getting used to, that the $200 monthly cost for a developer is the new 20. It's almost the default. It's going up so fast that to have a cap at $20 for using an AI agent, you won't get so much out of it. So don't raise your eyebrows if the billing goes up. And this is something that everyone has to consider right now, because we are moving that way, that more and more people, more and more devs are using these kind of agents, and it's really important to have this in mind, that the prices will go up as well. Not on the horizontal way, how many will use it, but also on the vertical.
And yeah, on that point as well, like quality gates. I mean, as I mentioned before, like we want clear like checks in order to. I mean, think of it as like a normal CI/CD pipeline that runs test, runs build, checks that the code quality is fine. I mean, we need to do the same with AI, but like probably a lot stricter and a lot more reviewed. Like, does this really? I mean, because there are cases like at companies where you could push. I mean, it isn't foolproof, of course. A CI/CD pipeline, you push it and it breaks something. It's the same with AI, but we need to like put a lot of energy into creating these kinds of quality gates when we are working with AI.
Exactly, and let's move now to the demo part, how to set these kind of rules, what they are and how it works in real life. And we have made a mock example of a full stack application just to make it easy to get some to grasp what we're talking about. And
this will be like a brief presentation or demo about like what you can do and like start like make you think, I guess, if you haven't touched this stuff before. There is like a lot more you can do with like the hooks, for example, rules, sub-agents. We don't have time to do like everything today, but I hope this will give you like a brief understanding at least.
An idea how you can do this in your environment. So, for example, now you can see that we have, if you minimize the folder structure, so we can see that we have the front-end and back-end folders. We have a Cloud MD file in the root, and this is the rules we're talking about. We have a README file. The README file is for the developers, for the people to read. It should be human-friendly text in there, while the Cloud MD file, in this example, when we're talking about Cloud Code, is focused on talking with AI agents.
Yeah, and as like Oliver mentioned, we will do this in Cloud Code. It might look very similar in other agent setups as well. But for Cloud Code, for example, we have this like .cloud, where you can have like settings for your agent. We have Cloud MD, which is basically the rules or guidelines that we mentioned before.
And the settings, the settings can be local. They can be shared with your colleagues. They can be enterprise-based managed settings, so you can't alter them. And in the settings, you are tweaking what the agent have, what is allowed, what is denied, what MCPs to use, or what kind of hooks to use.
That's more like strict settings, while the Cloud Code is more like loose descriptions on what you want it to do, basically. And you need to remember as well that, I mean, even though you have told it to do something, you need to review it, because, I mean, it does make mistakes, it does miss context, and but this might make it like a bit better at least. And as Oliver mentioned, you can share these configurations with like others as well, which result in, if all the developers are using AI agents to generate code, they will all follow the same guidelines, same structure, same security, guidelines, and that's like a really good thing.
Exactly, and in this example, we have two examples for the rules. The first one we will show about how you can tell it to deny some types of tasks. For example, the database example that you can uncomment. And in here, we're just showing that with just this line of code, you can tell the agent that it can't work with databases. It could have some other examples where makes more sense.
I mean, this makes sense as well. Like, I mean, because I think many people have worked with an agent where it like tells you to, I will clear the database and redo the schema, for example. And I mean, that's really dangerous. And if this can like alter or like make that safer, I mean, that's a good thing, I guess.
Exactly.
But it might not fit like all the cases.
So now we can show when we trigger Cloud Code and ask it to create a SQL client for the backend service.
Yeah, so this is Cloud Code if you haven't used it, and I will prompt it with in the backend create a database service for user management.
And hopefully the agent, Cloud Code, will look at the Cloud MD file and tell it now that, for example, I cannot work with databases. And if we remove that comment for a second, if we remove that and refresh it, try to do it again, and then ask to do it to work with databases. So if it hasn't catched anything, then it should work right now that it start generating some code. I create a database service.
So, like as you can see, it does look at its Cloud Code. I mean, the Cloud MD file is basically imprinted in Cloud Code that it should look at the Cloud MD file every time it does stuff. But yeah, as I mentioned, it can miss that as well.
And then we have the other example. I can show because let's do like this. I'm not used to your setup. Okay, so in the other example, we just have some guidelines. This is like not the best practice way of doing, but in this example, we just want to make it understandable that, for example, when we create new functions, we do it camel case and they should be in Swedish. So it should be like hämta användare, spara data. It sounds Norwegian,
yes.
but spara data and validera inmatning. And also, in the catch logs, in the logs when we are catching error handling, then we should have the tag, svenska error in this case. And this is just to show what's possible. And you can think that it can be for Grafana logging, for example, that you have when you do different type of features, you should have this kind of logs and tags and other tags on other type of functions. So when the code is creating user management database integrations, then it uses tags for Grafana for that service. So if we tell it to create a new function, let's say create a new endpoint where we calculate the data that arrived, for example.
And if we look at the same time in the, like here we have some endpoints, mocked endpoints for, just demo purposes. So we'll see it start to traversing the code base.
And now we can see that it found the index.js file and now it start to write the code, and hopefully we have some functions in Swedish and some catched tags that we wanted to implement as well.
And yeah, as you might know, AI takes some time to... Wait 1 second.
I hope the sound from outside didn't disturb you in the start. But okay, as you can see, we have the code that it started to create, calculations. And if we have some Swedish words in here, beräkna, I don't even see what it say.
Yeah, we can see that it follows the guidelines, like minvärde, maxvärde.
So we have some Swedish, and if we look in the catch, in the exception, we have the tag svenska error. And that is something that the Cloud Code would now implement in the backend service as a new endpoint with our guidelines. And of course, you won't have the tag svenska error, or maybe you don't want the Swedish function names in camel case, but just to have this in mind that you can set this kind of rules in the beginning, planning the code when you're working together with your colleague in a new repository to follow guidelines in a good way, in a way that you have of the rest of the code, so it won't make any spaghetti code and some weird stuff. And we don't have to like show the implementation itself, but you can see that it would implement this code.
Exactly. And yeah, another thing that you can put in the Cloud MD file is like how you want the flow to work. Like what should the AI do? Like should it do some reasoning? Should it like verify with the user that it wants to, or tell it what it wants to do, for example? I mean, usually you get like overwhelmed with code that it tells you to like accept, for example. But let's say you want like a brief explanation about what it does before you are accepting the code. We can tell it this as well here. So if we do like important, important workflow or something, and we tell it like, for example, before you write code or perform changes, plan what you want to do, and ask or like and tell user that in a few sentences, for example, and have the user accept or deny, maybe. So now, if we do Claude, and we tell it to like, I want an API endpoint for testing status up if ready. So we'll wait for it to, we'll see like I'll create an API, then plan the implementation. So it looks through the code now, getting familiar with everything.
And I guess when we have the planning stage, it takes some more time as well.
Yeah. And as you can see now, like instead of getting this huge code edit or like request to edit files, you get like a very short plan. Like, okay, I'll add a simple API/status endpoint that returns up. I mean, and this is exactly what I wanted to do. So I'll tell it, yes, go ahead. And it will start like actually implementing this feature. And this is like one thing that I mean, when the AI doesn't understand what you want and you like just accept the code, you might like let it implement stuff that you are not like, that you don't want it to implement, basically. And this is a way to like get around that and
exactly.
get better understanding of what the AI is doing.
And as we mentioned before about the Cloud MD file, the rules, this is something that you set together, you plan this together to have this common ways of working. So this is like crucial for the team to do together, to have a good ways of working and not just vibe code and stuff, YOLO mode, and just let it go bananas, because here you can set the rules, set the guidelines to keep it safer, because it's not always 100% bulletproof either. That's good to know.
Exactly.
And let's show about the commands, maybe. Just one last part about Cloud Code.
Exactly. So another thing that is very good to know about Cloud Code, for example, is that you can create commands, which is basically like predefined prompts that you might like execute a bunch of times. Let's say you want say something that checks for security issues, maybe. So what you would do probably is going to Cloud Code and say, check this project for security issues, and then like put all the requirements you have for that security check. But you might want to do this like a bunch of times. Maybe you have a workflow that you want to run like in some CI/CD where you want Cloud Code to actually check for security issues and report on it. You don't want to prompt it this way, maybe. So that's where like commands come in. So if you go into the .cloud folder you can see that we have a commands folder as well, and this isn't created by default. We have created this before, but you can just create it, and all the MD files in this directory is basically commands. So here we have like 2 commands. We have like a commit one. In this example, it does it says look through the non-committed files and create a commit based on what I have done, which is like a very good command. So if we want to run this, we can do cloud, and then we do commit, run this, and it will run this prompt. And this is a very short prompt, but in some cases you might have like a whole page of text basically. And that's where this comes in, and is very like a good thing or a good feature in Cloud Code, for example.
Exactly, and for example, just to mention, I don't know how much you have seen about hooks or sub-agents, but a hook, for example, is something that you can do that before the Cloud Code triggers, or after, or during, or when a task is done. It can trigger some hooks. This is something that you put in the settings, and the hook can request this commit message as well. So you can also make hooks combined with commands that it makes commits, and you can save all the commits that have been generated by Cloud Code, and follow up in the commit history which code is made by AI, which code is made by the human, to have that kind of follow up later on, and also see maybe in your analytics where you want to see how much AI have written the code, how much the developers have written the code. That's pretty cool ways of working as well.
Exactly.
And this is all like custom built scripts right now. There are libraries that are doing this kind of stuff. There are some kind of features that are coming, but mostly hands-on scripted tools and setups. And this is something that we are helping with as well. But yeah, that's about Cloud Code. Let's just jump straight into MCPs.
Yeah.
And about the power up, how we can power up the Cloud Code to connect to an external service. And now we can skip back end and go back to the front end and work with our articles page. So you can show how it looks right now.
Yes. So we have this page, a very simple articles page, where you see like some example articles. You can click on them, go see like the full article basically. This is a very simple React application. Let's see if we can. Here we have it, like a very few files, and if we click into like the article.js here, we can see that we have all the mocked articles. And let's say we want to implement, like we want a content management system. We don't want to like have a developer go into the code and update this mock articles.js every time we want to add an article. We might want this content management system, and usually like going from maybe one CMS to another CMS, or like going from non-CMS systems to CMS. I mean, that's a very like pain in the ass feature.
Yeah, it takes really a lot of time. You have to understand the code maybe, because you have to be a developer to navigate into the folder structures maybe, and then you have to sit in the contentful, for example, the CMS, and implement it, create tags, map the tags. It takes time, and this example, as you see now, it's a pretty simple one. We have one list of objects with the articles, but think a huge application with a lot of pages where you have content about each stuff, e-commerce for example. You maybe have hard-coded stuff, maybe the title of the page, maybe the content, the blog post, whatever. And this is possible to let Claude do for you. And we're not talking about hours, we're talking about seconds in this kind of example.
Yeah, I mean, we'll show you how we'll do this in like under some minutes, and
probably it will take some minutes at least.
Yeah. So yeah, first of all, we need to add the MCP, and MCPs there's different ways to install MCPs. There is some like MCP management like portals where you can have all your MCPs. It's easy to download and store keys and stuff, like Smithery, I think it's called.
We can send you the link as well.
Yeah, and so that's one way. Then all Cloud Code, for example, has like built-in add function to like download MCPs. So we'll I will see if I can find or I might have it here. So I have a command written. Let's see. So basically what we do here is add the MCP contentful. Okay, so if we go to contentful, for example, I mean, you might not have seen contentful, but contentful looks like this. You have content models, you have content. Content models is like defined models for how the content will look, and content uses those models to.
And this is a content management system where you write text.
Exactly, and they have provided like a management API, which a lot of companies are doing right now because they see the potential in like connecting AI to their systems. So Contentful, for example, has their management API, which on its like MCP has MCP is using that management API to like perform tasks like creating content models and stuff like that. So we have that API key that we got from them. We are providing the MCP with that key, and we'll add this MCP to Cloud Code. So we can see that it modified the .cloud file in my global.cloud file where I have all my MCPs.
And then we can just trigger the MCP, but with a command for Cloud, of course.
Yeah, so we will go into Cloud. We can do /MCP, and we can see that now we have Contentful and it's connected. If we press enter, we can see like details about it as well.
And it's connected through to our Contentful because we gave the key in the settings.
Exactly. So now, if we ask Cloud for like
migrate all the articles into our Contentful.
Yeah, let's like look at the articles. Don't use mocked articles anymore. Use a content or like use Contentful. Set up content models and migrate content there. So we'll run something like this. And this might take like a bit longer. It has to look at Contentful, it has to look at the code. But we'll see what it does. First of all, it looks at getting familiar with everything.
And just to mention about MCPs, the model context about the MCPs, the model context provider, where you can. This is something that you can do for your own systems, for your own wiki pages, for example, or your documentation somewhere, or the Jira tickets. This is something that you can do. But next.
I just wanted to as you can see you can see that it utilized the Contentful MCP and it lists spaces. So right now it's using the management API in order to get familiar with Contentful as well and the current space we have there.
Exactly. Okay.
All right, so we fast forwarded to when it's done because this takes as we mentioned, like maybe 2 minutes or 1 minute or something. But it says that it's done. I mean, we can look at the code. Let's refresh here. We'll see that we have a Contentful service, which follows our guidelines, as we mentioned before, in the CloudMD file. So we can see like svenska error. It uses, follows those guidelines, and also it has articles here. It fetches articles from Contentful, so we can go to
look in the articles as well if they are there.
Yeah. So first of all, we can look here. So we can see 3 minutes ago it created article, which is a content model. If we look at this, we can see that it created title, content, author, publish date, and stuff. So it follows what we had as the mock data, for example, or in this case. We look at content, and here we have the articles. And if we go back to, we might still have them here. It maybe didn't remove this one, but if we restart this now, is it this one? Front end, yes. So, and as you can see, we still have the page look pretty much the same. We can go into articles, but I guess the main difference now is that if we go to Contentful now and we add a must read, publish this, And if we go back now to articles. But yeah, as you can see, like it is connected. We can see the must read, so it fetches content from Contentful, and usually this will take a lot of time, but now we like with the context of when we provided the context of both Contentful and the code to the agent with also the possibility to perform actions on Contentful, that's like where we see the power up pretty much.
Exactly, and this is just an inspiration of how you can work with MCPs and integrations to other services, but this is one thing that we have seen on projects before, how we optimized, we saved a lot of hours that we just moved all the content through MCPs instead of copy-pasting a lot, and it made them dynamic and everything, and it was really cool to uppleva på engelska.
To experience.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was something really cool to experience. So that was the demo that we had about MCPs. Let's go back to the presentation, and
like as we mentioned, it's a very this is just touching the surface, and a lot of you people might have like looked into this stuff, this is I don't know, like we are touching the surface. We want to spread help people get started with providing guidelines to their agents, see like how MCP can help them. But there is like issues with these kinds of stuff as well. Like there is issues with MCP, potential security issues and stuff like that, and that could be like its whole own presentation.
Exactly, and we're doing this kind of workshops, not just webinars. This is our first webinar, which became a video instead, but we're doing workshops and helping developers to adopt this kind of stuff, hooks, agents, sub-agents, rules in their own environments, how to think when to code with this, and not just go vanilla clouding around and just hoping for the best. And about organization setup, it's something that we are also providing for companies, which is the ultra context hour AI, where we pre-process information with agents, going through GitHub, Wiki pages, and making one big of knowledge source where we have an agent that quickly talks with that data, which becomes an MCP for Cursor, for example.
Yeah, imagine instead of, as we showed you now with the Contentful, this might be like that's an MCP towards Contentful, but we provide like MCPs towards your organization basically.
And custom-made agents, for example. So that's it. And as we mentioned, it's happening a lot in this domain. AI agents, ChatGPT, not to mention, and everything around it. And it's a big question where we're heading. Where is development heading? Developer experience, DevOps, what's going on? What will happen in a year? What will happen in 2 years? And
I guess the first thing we want to an obvious one is that everyone has to adapt and be updated with the current or the new stuff, seeing security issues, seeing potentials with different systems, and I guess a lot of adaptation in organizations as well, human adaptation towards this. I mean, agents works good if you provide it with good data, for example, but there's a lot of organization changes that need to be done as well. Both tech-wise and people-wise.
Exactly, and as we mentioned before about the cost, for example, don't raise the eyebrows if the prices are going up for your agentic tools that your developers are using, because it will, and people won't get enough with the pace that is going on right now, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So, it's super exciting to see where we're going, what's going on, and for example, QA and testers, that will be super important in the future, right now and in the future and before. But now, when people are deploying code that they are not looking at, the QA role has a new important function.
It's much more important now.
Exactly.
That's the thing, right? You don't want to find out that the AI has generated something in the wrong way, in production. And it's the same thing with humans as well, but it gets much more important when you don't actually look at the code. I mean, because that's what we see, right? I mean, say that people are generating code with AI, they like push a pull request. There's a large chance that someone reviews this PR as well with AI. And that's where like stuff can go wrong. And we need to provide like secure and like quality frameworks or guidelines to like ensure that this doesn't work.
Exactly. All right, our last slide is about the Q&A. It's not so much Q&A today because this is a video and not a real webinar, unfortunately. But next time we will provide another link that will work, and it will be really fun to do this live. We are hosting this kind of stuff as well at our place, at Playground in Stockholm. But if you want us to join and talk about this in your company, have a workshop, talk about organization-wide, ultra-wide AI agentic context. That sounds like a real buzzword, but yeah, get in touch. It's something that we really like to work with and really enjoy.
Yes.
Thank you, guys. See
Thank
you.
you.